Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lorraine, and in this video I'm going to be going over Gemini Sun with Pisces Moon. I'm going to start off the video by talking about what a typical Gemini Sun is like, and then I'm going to get into the moon placement and talk about it as a combination. So if there's certain aspects of the Gemini Sun description that don't quite resonate or make a lot of sense, then hold on until you hear the moon placement and it'll probably tie together quite nicely and make a lot of sense. Little disclaimer before I get started that, even when you do hear your moon placement, there may be some aspects that don't quite make sense. Maybe it's a little different because I can't see the rest of your chart. So keep in mind this is only 2 placements of your entire chart. And so when I am talking about these descriptions and this combination, I mean like in general, most of the time, tendencies. This is what the person with this pairing would act like, barring any other placements that would counteract these expressions. I will also probably be glancing over here from time to time because I have my very thorough notes and I don't want to miss anything. When I'm talking to the camera, honestly, my mind goes blank. So I have very carefully crafted notes that I put together myself. So just so you know, let's get started with Gemini Sun. So basically, I'm going to list a few descriptive words of Gemini, and then I'm going to get into giving you a more complete picture of how this plays out in real life. I'm all about explaining things practically, giving you a complete picture of this, of like a real person with this pairing. And so Gemini Suns are very energetic, social, adaptable, conversational. They're great communicators. They're persuasive, curious, restless, easily bored, high-strung. They tend to quite enjoy gossip, and they are a bit disorganized. So Geminis are often social butterflies, and again, this can depend on whether this person is introverted or extroverted. I know a lot of people assume that all Geminis are extroverted because they tend to be that way, but some are introverted. Even if they are introverted, they're usually very good at socializing and communicating. It's just whether or not that exhausts them or not, and they need alone time. But for the most part, they just really enjoy having conversations with all types of people, and they're good at it. They make really good first impressions because they're really able to tailor their conversations and how they present themselves to who they're around. They're really good at reading a room. Now, Geminis have a lot of energy. They are very easily restless and they're very easily bored, and so they need a lot of stimulation. Now, because of this, they not only enjoy change, but they actually need it. They need that variety, that fresh experiences and that change in their life in order to keep them entertained. Because they're always on the go, looking for new topics, places to explore, things to learn, people to talk to, their knowledge of subjects and their connections to people tend to be a little more surface level and not super deep. And that's because they just don't, because they're always on the move to new, they don't have enough really time to be able to go deeper into a subject or go deeper with connecting with someone. And it's because they get bored so easily. And so they tend to know a little about a lot and never really master anything, kind of a jack of all trades. So if a Gemini does actually know a lot about one's particular subject, or like maybe even mastering it, going to school for it, pursuing it as a career, that sort of thing, or if they have a really deep connection with someone, they're married to them, very committed to them, that's something that they're learning, or that someone that they're with has managed to keep them interested for a very long time to the point that they're willing to commit to it. That's a really actually impressive feat because they're so easily bored. So if it's a subject that they're learning, maybe they're going to school for it, then it's something that doesn't have a ceiling. It's something that just keeps them interested to where they're always learning new information in it. There's new levels to it. There doesn't have a ceiling. And anytime they learn a new piece of information, it's just as exciting as when they first learned about the topic. It's going to be something like that. There can't be a ceiling to it. I feel like as soon as Gemini feels like they've mastered something and there's nothing more like new to learn, like there's no point. It's so boring for them. Most Geminis would have abandoned it far before they got to that point. And so if they are mastering a subject, it must be very interesting to them and have new levels to it. And if they're really committed to someone and have that like either deep friendship or deep relationship with someone, then that's a person who is really able to adapt and keep up with Gemini. They're definitely not boring. It's someone who's always growing with them, who's always down for their adventures or their fresh experiences and willing to do hobbies with them, or at the very least hear about them and be just as excited to hear about them as they were the first time Gemini told them about something cool they did. They actually love to listen to people who are experts, masters, or just know a lot about one subject. And that can actually be really attractive and interesting to them because they're not generally like that. And because then if you know a lot about something, or you're an expert or a master, chances are that is information that Gemini does not know. And so it's very fascinating to them, because they probably don't know it because they haven't been able to devote enough time to get to that level. And so it's really fascinating and probably attractive to them to be able to learn that from someone, and because then you're connecting on that intellectual level, which Gemini really likes. Now with Gemini, they are very energetic, but sometimes this isn't always physical energy. I think pretty much every Gemini has that mental energy. They're very mentally energetic, and then some can be physically energetic, and that usually kind of depends on if they're more extroverted or introverted. If they're more introverted, it's mostly just that mental energy. And if they're more extroverted, it's usually kind of a combination of both, but they'll probably express that energy more physically in order to try and process everything that's going on there in their head. So Gemini believes in many truths, and like an infinite number of truths, as opposed to Gemini's opposite sign in Sagittarius, which is in the search of or believes in one absolute truth. For Gemini, something can be true for one person while the opposite can be true for another person, and Gemini views both as being equally valid and equally true. And Gemini also gets very caught up in the moment. When they're having a conversation with someone, that's the most important conversation at that time. And so when they're talking with someone, they could be talking with person A and agreeing with them that what they believe is true, and then they could have a conversation with person B, and now that conversation is the most important, and they could agree with person B, who believes the exact opposite of person A. And then people can kind of wonder about this inconsistently, like, you agreed with both of us, and it's because one, they got caught up in the moment, and that's the most important thing in that moment. But also, again, Gemini believes in multiple truths, and so they believe that person A is true because they believe it's true for them, and person B as well. So when people wonder, like, oh, which one do you believe? Like, for Gemini, it's both. It's all of them. No two beliefs are mutually exclusive in their mind because it's true for someone. And this is kind of how I imagine Gemini. Like, you know, when someone starts drinking really early in the day, and they usually get called out for it, and then they're like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Gemini is like getting called out for talking about an opinion or belief that contradicts something they said earlier, and they're like, it's true for someone, or I got caught up in the moment. And that's pretty much a good summary of Gemini. And now another caveat to this is that Gemini, I think, is notorious for saying things and making plans and then just as easily going back on them. And again, it's from getting caught up in the moment. In the moment, it was the most important thing, and they're like, yes, let's do it, and they agreed to it, but then the moment passed, and they're probably caught up in a new moment that is now the most important thing, or they could have just completely forgot about the first thing that they agreed to. So, like, a good way to summarize that would be flaky, I guess, yeah, which as an Aries I find extremely frustrating. And now, like I said about Gemini saying one thing and then agreeing to the complete opposite, it's also really hard for Gemini to like keep track of everything that they say and everything that they agree to, because for them it's as fast as like their thoughts. It would be like trying to keep track of every thought that you had in a week. And you're probably going to have some pretty contradictory thoughts throughout the week. It's based, how do you feel about your life and your job when you're stuck in traffic on the way to work Monday morning to a job that you don't enjoy, versus how do you feel about your life Friday when you're about to go party for the weekend or go on a week trip. So those will probably be some conflicting thoughts and feelings, but for us that's considered normal. For Gemini, like, that's how it is when they're expressing information and points of view and opinions and beliefs. It's as fleeting as that, and it can be quite contradictory. And to them, that's normal, because Gemini is actually quite good. That's the sign of the twins. It's a dual sign. It's like they have an alter ego. It's like they have two sides to them. I mean, ask any Gemini you know, or if you're a Gemini, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know, like, if you ask a Gemini, do you feel like two different people? Every single one of them will be like, yes, all the time. Like, it's like they have an alter ego, or they just have just two different sides to them, and both are just as genuine, and it depends which side you're getting, which one wants to express itself today, you know? Now, like I mentioned, Gemini loves talking, communication, conversations, and if they're a little more introverted, I find this is usually directed a little more into, say, like writing, texting, social media. If they're more extroverted, then that's having conversations and talking with people, and usually it's the more extroverted ones I find that tend to really enjoy the gossip. But I think pretty much every Gemini enjoys gossip, and I feel like when they say they don't, they're lying. That's a different side of them that was out that day. The other side of them loves gossip. So, and now Geminis are like really good at gossip too. They know everything. Like, if at work, they know everything that's going on. If you want to know all of the hot gossip, if you want to know like the rumors, everything that's going on, ask a Gemini. They, like, my mom's a Gemini and she knows everything that happens at work. She knows absolutely everything. If you want to know what's going on, you talk to her. If she doesn't know, she will find out. It's like she's got eyes and ears and spies everywhere. She is the first to know about everything. And part of why is because she, again, is that Gemini able to get along with everyone genuinely. So everyone likes her. And so they tell her everything. So then she knows everything. All right. So now I wanted to add some of the unevolved characteristics of Gemini. And I wanted to make sure that I gave them a fair shake first, because I feel like they get a lot of hate, especially online. I take these sun moon combination videos very seriously. I put a lot of work and effort into them because I'm making them for someone who either has this pairing or loves someone who does. And so I want them to be beneficial. You know, the last thing I want is for someone to come watch these videos and feel like shit about their sign, because I know how that feels and it's just completely unhelpful. So I want to make sure that when I make these videos, I'm doing every sign and every pairing justice, and that I'm showing that every sign and every pairing has the potential to be a great person when they're healthy, and to really show what all of the signs and pairings have to offer. And so I'll be honest, that's kind of why I fell behind in the sun moon combinations, because I got to Gemini and it was just one of the most challenging signs to fully figure out. And it's not like I didn't know about them before, and it's not even like I particularly dislike Gemini. It's just that, like, you know, we're all approaching astrology from our own biases, and I'm an Aries, you know, that is sextile Gemini, so that, like, I kind of get them a little bit, but the rest of my chart, I have 3 planets in Sagittarius, which is opposite Gemini, and then I have 2 planets and my midheaven in Pisces, which is square Gemini, and so I have a lot of opposite, like, difficult aspects to Gemini, so it was just difficult for me to fully get them, like fully understand them on a deep level and really appreciate them and what they have to offer. And I didn't want to make these videos until I got to that point, and I don't make any of my videos until I'm at that point, because the last thing I want is to just pile on the shitty stereotypes, because every sign gets that enough already, including I think especially Gemini. But on the other hand, I'm very aware that every sign has their challenges, their unevolved characteristics, and so I don't want to completely gloss over those, and so I'm going to get into some of the unevolved characteristics of Gemini now. So unevolved Geminis can be cunning, superficial, manipulative, and they can be very, like, when, again, unevolved, not all Geminis, but they are very good at lying and bending the truth. And they can also be unfaithful to their partners. And unfortunately, some stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. And unevolved Geminis can be two-faced in the worst way, you know, where they're talking, like, they're really nice, polite to your face, and then they're talking shit about you and spreading rumors behind your back. Or they do something really shitty and then they pretend it never happened and they act like everything's normal. And then if you ever try to confront them about it, they're the kind of people that will either avoid it, deny it, or lie some more. And again, this is unevolved Geminis. It's essentially the worst expression of the sign. That said, though, most Geminis are big avoiders, especially when it comes to conflict. So even if they are a generally healthy Gemini, if you try confronting conflict head on, it's probably not going to go very productively, or at least it's just going to make them very uncomfortable. Why is your butt wet? Say hello. You're so pretty. So now I get to Pisces Moon. So Pisces Moons are sensitive, romantic, artistic, and they are a dreamer. They see the world as they like to see it and, like, as they want it to be, not necessarily how it actually is. And they have a tendency to do this with people as well. They kind of have rose-colored glasses. They see people as they want them to be, not how they actually are. Pisces just is so... I love Pisces, by the way. They're you know, they really love people so much. They just want to have this unconditional love for everyone, but sometimes they get taken advantage of, and they don't want to believe that anyone is a lost cause. They see the best in everyone, even if it's maybe not there. And because of this, they can get taken advantage of. You know, they're so trusting and they're just so kind-hearted. They expect everyone to have good intentions, and for them, trust is given freely. It's not earned. If they get taken advantage of and hurt too much, that's when Pisces can slip into a tendency of being manipulative. It's like a negative stereotype that they can sometimes fall into, and that's usually because they've been hurt a lot. They don't usually start out that way. Or if they kind of cut off that spiritual side of them, that can actually be really detrimental to how Pisces expresses itself, because Pisces is a naturally very spiritual placement. You know, they like mystical realms. They like, you know, just spirituality. They kind of want to get lost in another realm and, you know, go outside their body. And they really they want to experience like collective consciousness, and just, yeah, they love exploring spirituality and being connected that way. And if they cut that off, I usually find that's when they will slip into those negative stereotypes that Pisces has, of one of which is being manipulative. So these two signs are square each other, so they can be a difficult pairing at times. But if this person puts in the work, square aspects really force people to grow the most out of all the aspects, in my opinion. And it can create a balance of two very different perspectives, which can be great. It just requires quite a bit more work to get to that point. So with these two signs, the challenge is going to be balancing the intellectual side and their emotional side, and balancing Gemini's constant desire for new things, new experiences, and Gemini's ability to keep things surface level and lighthearted. Trying to balance all of that with Pisces' desire to have those deep connections with people, and to you know, be ruled by their emotions, versus Gemini that it's like intellect. So I see this being someone who does have one or a few select close people in their life, as opposed to maybe some other Geminis. And like with Gemini Sun with other water moons, they probably take their time getting to that point. They take their time getting to that deep emotional level, because first and foremost, the person they let in needs to be intellectually stimulating. They have to be able to hold good, interesting conversations. Because, you know, why would you let the Pisces moon get attached if you're just going to get bored from the person anyways? Because like, this is a recipe for disaster, because either then now the Pisces is attached, but this person's boring you, and because you're at the end of the day a Gemini, and so then either you stay there but you're bored, but then, or you go your separate ways and now your Pisces moon is hurt. So it's just a mess. So first and foremost, Gemini sussing them out to make sure, be like, are you interesting? Okay, go to step 2. The Gemini Sun is also going to be really good at protecting the Pisces moon, because Pisces feels and loves so deeply, especially in the moon placement, and they get blind when it comes to love. And so, but that Gemini, they are good at smelling bullshit. So this is going to be that protection that Pisces desperately needs, to make sure they're not letting someone in who's going to take advantage of their love and kindness and their willingness to do anything for the people they love. And so that Gemini is going to be really good at sussing people out before they let them see that emotional depth they have below the surface. And Gemini Sun is really good at keeping things surface level without you even realizing it. Like, you have to actually really think about it, have it pointed out to you, and notice it. So this is going to be someone who's really good at being able to suss out people, whether they let them in and see that emotional side and really fall for them, because they're able to talk to people about and keep it surface level and suss them out without being vulnerable and without actually seeming like they're hiding anything too. So in general, I see this being someone who loves variety, learning, the new experiences, all those typical Gemini traits. They are a Gemini, but they need to share it with someone special. Maybe it's a couple people, whatever. They need to have loved ones that they love deeply, that they're really connected with, to share it with in order to be emotionally fulfilled. Or they could even do the things on their own, or like just have someone to come home to. They need someone to love and share their life with and intertwine their life with, but they also do need their own stuff, because they're a Gemini. So it's going to be having some of their own hobbies, friends, etc., but then being able to come home and tell their loved one about it, or to be able to go on these spontaneous adventures, take up cooking or do all these things with their partner. They need to be able to have both. They need to be able to have that variety and the fresh experiences. But for Pisces, because they love so deeply, they're not going to be able to have like a revolving door of people in their life. They're going to need to have eventually some steady fixture in their life of someone that they share their life with. But the Gemini moon will be helpful for Pisces and preventing them from becoming codependent, which is a notorious Pisces trait, because they want to be oneness with everything and everyone. And so this will be, again, it's going to take some work, but this is someone who could have a really great balance of, having a special someone in their life, or whether it's friends or whoever, having loved ones in their life, but then also having their own stuff to do. And with having that nice balance of a good home life or someone to share their life with, but then also having variety so they don't get bored and they're always learning stuff. I do think it's worth mentioning though, because again, I don't want to gloss over unevolved aspects. This is someone who, like, if they're unevolved or with like very questionable moral character, I feel like they could manipulate the shit out of someone. Like if they really wanted to, like they probably have that superpower, and if they chose to use it for evil, you know, they'd be real good at it. That's all I have planned for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already considered liking this video and subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who has helped support this channel so far and brought it to where it is. I'm monetized with over 2,000 subscribers now, so thank you very much.